this is a question from Jos. He would like to ask you, how does the information age influence true leadership?
I think tremendously, and obviously I'm a little biased because my background is computer engineering, and I grew up in the age of the internet, and I think that I couldn't do what I do without the information age. So if you look at the way that we run Juice, it is a platform of people, leaders around the world that are working with us. And how do I communicate with them? And how do I engage them on a regular basis? It can't just be phone or fax. I mean, that era is way dead. Yeah. So instead, what I use is Skype, right? I use Skype on a regular basis. We now have begun to use Weixing circles, which is, in English they call it WeChat. So these private circles for each project. We use Yammer, which has now been acquired by Microsoft. That is the core organizational memory. We use something called Smartsheet, which is a little bit like a collaborative spreadsheet. Yeah. And it has forms and all sorts of other feature functionality. We use Google Docs to a certain extent, but it's very difficult because it's not actually accessible in China without a VPN. Yeah. We use social media, both on the West in English, like Facebook and Twitter, LinkedIn a little bit, and then in Chinese social media, which are two separate universes. And we use them equally effectively. We do that more for more promotion, or let's say I'm going out to a different location. I'll say, hey, I'm in Netherlands or Amsterdam, and amazingly, I'll get people that I don't know very well say, hey, let's meet up for coffee, and then they'll become a great contributor to Juice. I mean, it's just phenomenal, right? As a recruiting tool, as a way to continue to update and engage people. iMovie, I mentioned that earlier in terms of a storytelling, tool is just phenomenal for people that aren't photographers or videographers, but they can now tell a story. We use SmugMug for all of our pictures. Half of our value is telling a story. Well, pictures is a large part of that, and so SmugMug happens to be accessible in both China and the US, so we use that rather than Flickr. We use Issuu, ISSUU, to publish our articles and press and writings, etc. Yeah. And we embed those into our website. And of course, the web. I mean, I don't need to say that. We just launched, as I mentioned, Heyue City application, which is a web application, Android download, and iOS. And that allows citizens to engage with the government on community solutions, community improvements. We're now thinking about how to use emoticons, animated GIFs, which are widely viral here in China on QQ, Weibo, and Weixing, and use them to inspire people about the China dream, right, in a funny, engaging way. So, these are all things that, frankly, 6 years ago, we would never, ever have imagined we could be using these tools because they didn't exist, right?
And do you think that, because we also went from a kind of indirect feedback process to direct and instant feedback through social media. How is that influencing leadership?
You have to inspire people to collaborate with you at multiple levels. I think you need that feedback. You need a co-creation way to lead people. You need facilitative leadership. You need leadership that's a dialogue with people.
Yeah, because a lot of the interviews say that we're lacking true leadership. Thomas Friedman thought it was also because of the information age, that he says that true leadership declines with every 100 million followers on Twitter. Because people they follow and they have the reactions, the responses already in mind when they take actions. And that kind of diminishes their leadership.
I think smart leadership uses different tools for different reasons, to engage different audiences at different levels, right? So all of our volunteers do not volunteer at the same contribution level or the same frequency, right? So you need to use different tools to engage them at. We actually use Twitter not so much. It's basically a repeat of what I post on Facebook. Facebook is actually a way for us to dialogue a little bit more and engage with people a little bit more, because you can say longer things. You have a more cohesive thread.
Yeah.
You can do pictures in a better way. Weixing, similarly, it's a dialogue with a group that's self-selected. So I think that there's people who are promoters of memes.
Yeah.
And if you're a promoter of memes, then I think Twitter's great.
Yeah.
But we're not a promoter of memes. I mean, we are. I mean, Dream in a Box, Stone Soup, Global Leadership, China Dream, these are all memes.
Yeah.
But really, we need more than memes. We need to engage people and activate them.
Yeah.
And that requires a whole bunch of other set of tools. So I think smart leadership is knowing how to use a box of tools, just like in the garage, and use them for different reasons. If you're just stuck on Twitter, of course, that's not true leadership.